The light is green, which means there's a little bit of a rhyme there. It's another episode of Red Star Roundtable,
And the
and
star is red.
the star is the light is green and the star is red. That's good. I'll use that one next time. That was good. But oh man, I have last week's we talked about Marvel, which is something we went an hour and a half, and it basically became three friends talking about some of their favorite stuff. This week we have an awesome topic. We are talking about freaking Blood Bowl. Uh, I'm not even going to give my opinions yet about just the game in general. We're going to save that. But I have with me three of the coolest dudes I've ever met in my entire life. Let's go around the table and introduce ourselves. We'll start with our special guest today.
Name is Simon Velez. Been playing Blood Bowl since the 90s, probably.
Yeah,
Forever.
since most of these kids were born.
Probably, yeah.
Simon's been playing Blood Bowl long enough to where he's like, on the inducement table, there was like, one of the things was like a Soviet nuke, could happen at any time. All right. And of course,
Yeah, I mean, I played that so much. Well, the old edition, it kind of just ingrained into my head. The new edition, there's a few differences on those charts, but I'll just get used to it again as soon as I start
Yeah.
playing more tournaments.
yeah. And let's keep it going for introductions, Mister. Whoever he's throwing stuff in his grill. What's up, man?
As always, it's Josh here.
Josh. Yep. What are you eating,
Coming
dude?
back at you. I'm eating goldfish crackers. dog.
Goldfish cracker. I got some chewy sweet tarts over to my left. For
I bought that bag with the 3-pack in it, so like that's been crushing them. It's been crushing them.
that's awesome,
But,
man. You have
I mean-
the same flavor taste as like a preschooler.
Of course I do. I also have dinosaur chicken nuggets in my freezer.
Dude, dinosaur chicken nuggets are the bomb, though. I'm not even gonna. Yeah,
If I'm gonna eat chicken nuggets, they better be dinosaur.
yeah. They used to
chicken.
look like they came from
Exactly.
like a time before time, 100%. And of course, the resident beard. Oh, actually, we have a battle of the beards today.
No, Simon's got
He's
that
got me
big
beat.
stuff going on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
got
don't
me
know.
beat though, man.
Let you
This is
introduce.
this is the Will Lansing starter kit.
Yeah.
That's some bad credit. Then you got it down. No, Will Lansden, y'all know me, and I've been playing Blood Bowl since 2000 and third edition Blood Bowl. So I think I started back in 2007.
Yeah,
I don't have goldfish, but I got a little bit of captain tonight, so got that liquid dinner going on.
That's awesome. And like I said, we'll be talking about probably what I would have to say is it's hard. Like we've talked multiple times on the show on like your games. The most on 40K. I spent the most money in paint investment, in my time, in my money, in my hobby, and I feel like I have to keep that as my number one game, right? Just because of all the time sink. But hands down, period, end of story. Every time I've played Blood Bowl, I've had a shit-eating grin from ear to ear more than any game I've ever played. It is probably the most fun game I've ever played, and the most joyful game I've ever played.
I will argue it is the best game that Games Workshop produces. It doesn't get the support that 40K or Sigma or any of those other games do, but it is by far the best. And some of the most fun games I've been in or even watched has been Blood Bowl. Just seeing people laugh, cheering, things like that. Even today, we were playing today, I had to close the door because we were laughing so much at what each other was doing in their games.
Oh, yeah.
We had two games going on at the same time. And it was just fun just watching the guys next to us playing their game that we weren't even rolling dice in.
Before we get into the thing, do we have any hobby? Anybody do any hobbying this week? I had a week off where I didn't touch anything. This morning I put together the Chaos Blood Bowl team that I picked up from a friend yesterday. But other than that, I haven't painted anything. I needed a break.
I finally busted out those fountains. I had the box since it first came out, and I finally opened it the Friday.
Uh huh.
I had jewelry, but I did it through Zoom, and I had nothing else to do for a couple hours, so I started putting models together.
Jury duty through Zoom.
Yeah, jury through Zoom.
Yeah, it's they do the jury duty through Zoom, the selection process. And if you get selected to be on a trial, then you have to go downtown.
Ah, okay. Well, that's super cool.
Yeah, they need to do that all the time from here on. Period, and it's, from now on, if they can do that
Everything's gonna change, boys.
Yeah.
I'm telling.
Anybody else? Anybody do anything else? Putting anything together?
I've been painting.
What have you been painting?
I've been painting my Marvel Crisis Protocol
Oh,
stuff.
that's right. That's right. There's
my little Bucky going on.
he deserves that figure deserves the more time than any other Crisis Protocol because that little dude punches above his weight, right, Josh? Every time Josh played him, that Winter Soldier is the best.
So,
What is
This
the
Hulk-
line?
This Hulk looks badass, but he kind
Yeah.
of sticks on the table.
Yeah,
He was one of the first, so I think it was hard to balance in the beginning. But
yeah, he's an early release. Poor guy. That's
he'll,
okay.
he'll get another thing.
He'll
like
get
Spider-Man.
another. They'll give him another crack at him. That it's going to be amazing. I guarantee it. Now that all these other ones have come out, like basically She-Hulk is not to go back an episode, but She-Hulk is what he should have been. She-Hulk's card and stats and stuff like that.
Yeah, they'll sort it.
Yeah.
I got nothing but faith in that company, but
Let's see some Maestro.
Some Maestro or some World Breaker or something. Yeah, they'll do something sweet. All right, man. Listen, let's not bury the lead. Let's get right into this action. First, I want to start that I wanted to make sure that I got to play some sevens. I bought the sevens pitch because with freaking Blood Bowl, like I'm always worried that physical product will go out. Other than the teams, like supplementary product goes out of print, like something fast. So I bought a sevens pitch and then coordinated time to meet with Simon. And I thought I had all this allocated time. And then we get there, and then turns out there's like the world's biggest Pokemon tournament. So I called the kiddo. Kiddo comes down. We build the deck because it's a release party. Simon helps. Is so gracious to help us and my daughter build the deck. And she took first place in her division.
Junior.
Yeah, in juniors division, which was
Congrats.
awson. But once
just playing against
Yeah.
the bigger guy, the bigger players. Just
Yeah.
the last two guys were up above her.
Yeah. So she did really good. So again, thanks, Simon. That was so awesome of you. You didn't have to do that, but it was so cool. And of course, Simon with the card games is a big Magic guy, so he knows about building some decks out of some draws and those type of systems. But we were able to finally get some tables once they got everything set up. We moved to the side and we're able to play about 3 games of sevens. And for my first impressions, let me just tell you, I loved every second of it. I'm not gonna commit heresy and say it's the definitive edition of Blood Bowl because that's dumb, but it's my edition of Blood Bowl. I love the format. I like it. The faster, more games, more teams. Like I played a game with the Dwarves where I got absolutely destroyed by Simon's Necromantic, and I'm like, new team. You know what I mean? Because it's like a 40-minute game. I'll just bust out a new team. I bring all the teams.
there are the communities and groups that swear that sevens is the go-to, the change of the meta, if you will, of Blood Bowl.
So, and I'm
Most
glad.
people
Yeah.
swear by it.
I was telling Mike that sevens, if you have speed and agility, you're better off than having brute strength.
Yeah.
Because other big guys are real slow. But if you have moving 6 or 7, and you can leave the big guys behind, you don't have to worry about getting blocked.
Yeah.
And then
So we don't confuse anybody that's listening about what sevens is.
Right.
Why don't you go ahead and give us a rundown of what sevens is and why that's different and how that changes how that game looks on the table.
yeah, well, okay, well, sevens is a downside of the game. When a regular Blood Bowl is 11 players on the pitch, sevens is 7 players on the pitch, and the pitch is a lot more narrower. It's a lot smaller. So, you can get in contact pretty quickly, unless you're a dwarf.
Yeah.
Then you have to blitz twice to go hit somebody,
Well, I think
But,
that
yeah,
I haven't played it yet, and so I bought the pitch and then I bought the book. And the biggest thing that I noticed is there's now a no man's land. There's no longer a single line of scrimmage. That there's an
cool.
8 square,
Six.
10 square difference between the two teams. So there's no,
Yeah.
I get to go first, so I'm just going to beat the crap out of you
Yep.
at the first down, and then you're it. So I see where your dwarves would suffer because you don't get to do all those hits like right
Yep.
off the get go. You got to move up, which is not, it's not their area. Moving's not their thing. So I could see where that would be a big hindrance.
But you can also kick off into no man's land, and hopefully it goes into your side of the pitch,
Yep, which happened.
and then if
one
you're
of
a
the-
driver, you can just
yeah.
pick it up.
Yeah, we had a kick.
Well, actually, that might actually I went back to read on the rule, and that one we called that one wrong. That should have been offside. I should have gotten the ball. But if you kick it into no man's land and it goes towards his side of the pitch, and he's just closer to it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick it up after I go after I move because I start first, and then I have to go get the ball. But he's closer to it, so he can probably get it on his turn.
Yeah, yeah, but 100% Will's right is that, and then it would also like Josh's lizards with the Sauruses on the line of scrimmage. You go and it's like let's knock out, injure, or kill some players first turn because they're right there, and they hit, and you just go down the line hitting everybody. In this case, they're not going to hit anybody for 2 rounds, and there's only 6. And the smart player is not going to let you engage.
Yeah, and this is more like rugby where you're pushing people out of the way, so you can go get control of the ball and get it to safety, get your bigger guys in, your faster guys around it, and try to go for the score.
I never thought about it like that. Yeah, it is more like,
because
like rugby.
regular blood bowl, you start off facing each other right off the bat, but because we're spaced out now, there's more maneuvering before we get to each other.
And you have less positionals, where before everybody just buy whatever they want. And this one, they're like, you get 4. So however you divide them amongst your big guys, your blitzers, catchers, throwers, whatever, you get 4. So it's not like me with my orcs, because I'm that cheeky guy, I'm going to buy 4 blitzers.
Right.
And manhandle you.
Yeah.
That does not exist in sevens.
Especially because you only have $600,000, which goes by so fast.
Well, especially when you're looking at a orc big is 100 or they're 90 now.
Double.
Yeah, rerolls cost double, so they cost 100,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
100.
they're going to be different for each team, but I mean, you're looking at 140,000 for most, probably on average. So I think what we might need to do is, if you're a first-time listener, because correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, this is the first time we've talked about Blood Bowl on YouTube.
That's right.
We had about it before. So why don't you, if first-time listener, what's Blood Bowl? Give me your 90-second elevator pitch. What's Blood Bowl? Why should I play it?
Yeah, so Blood Bowl is what happens when you have a bunch of British game designers who have a vague concept of American football, a very vague concept. So they wanted to make a game that is based on American football, where they have very little knowledge of American football, but they like writing rules. So this is, I used to say that this is a game where the rules writers went crazy, because in order to do everything requires a roll of a dice, and there's rules for everything. But it turns out that the system they use, the system is the tackle zone system. Like, if you're teaching this game, the number one rule is the tackle zone, because it dictates everything. If you want to do something,
Marked.
if you're marked. So it's a grid, and if you're in the middle and anybody that's surrounding you on the grid, that's your tackle zone. If there's anybody in that and you want to do something, then modifiers come into place. If there's not, then there's no modifiers. So it's all pretty, there's a lot there, but it's pretty elegant in the end, I think. But to say it, basically, it's football. You want to get the ball into the end zone. One team gets the ball, the other team's on defense. And you try to block players, knock them out, kill them, in order to make some space so that you can take your guy and then move him up and then go and score. So
I like to tell people, Blood Bowl is what, if I had explained to my kid what football was, and then he went from there and taught all his friends what it was and got everything wrong.
right.
and then they created Blood Bowl together. But it's fantasy football
That's right.
because
The
it's all
setting,
fantasy
yeah.
racers.
Yeah, the setting is like set in old world Warhammer as like high fantasy. You got elves, goblins, trolls, dwarfs, dark elves, humans, ogres.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Your screen froze.
It froze.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It just froze on my end. Hold
Yeah.
on, let me fix this.
Maybe it'll shake itself loose. Simon, how would you explain Blood Bowl to the person who's never played it before?
Like, I think you did a good job saying it's a fantasy football set in the world of Warhammer Fantasy. Because you play with dwarves and goblins and elves and trolls. But I mean, all those teams are a lot of those are terrible. But I've seen people win with like the worst teams.
Right.
It's that strategy. I mean, you got to learn how to use your pieces effectively.
Well, I think that one of the things about it is that it's doesn't take long to learn once it clicks, and then the new system has made it a lot easier where they have target numbers like in what they did with 8th edition Warhammer. That in order to do X, the data sheet says you need a 3+, a 4+, and then there's modifiers that'll modify the dice after that. So it's a lot more user friendly. But having said that, in order to do any action, if I want to throw the ball, I've got to roll a dice to see if it's an accurate pass. It doesn't end there. It's got to see the guy's got to catch it, and then he gets to catch it, and then he skills. Yeah, then he's got and then he's got to roll it. And one of my favorite things about this game, and I think this is actually the most important aspect of why this game has so much ardent fans that are, and why it's just such a happy game, is that it's hard. You can try to do everything you can to optimize your success, but the game has built in like failures built into the game that it's like if you're not good at golf and you go out there and you shank a shot and it's like I'm really not good. Like, this game isn't freaking fair. Like, golf is hard, right? My point is that golf is hard, and you shouldn't get mad that you shanked a shot. This game's goddamn impossible, and it's the same with Blood Bowl. It's like you're supposed to have something that's easy, and then your guy trips and then breaks his neck and then gets killed, just because he wanted to take one extra step. You know what I mean? So.
I think that's the beauty of the game,
Yeah,
though.
like that's what you can't get mad at that. You can't get mad.
There's always a chance to fail, and there's always a chance to succeed.
Yes.
Everything you do. And I think that's the beauty of it. Even walking or throwing, catching, whatever, there's always a chance you can fail. And so I think there's a level of complexity in Blood Bowl that does not exist in other Games Workshop IP. Like, having to constantly keep on your mind, well, if I mess this up, my turn's over. And so if you don't do things in a certain order, plan things out, do things that, you set yourself up for other moves, then it's, and to your point, it's an easy game to learn, but it's a hard game to master.
Right.
And I think that's the beauty of this game.
Yeah, Simon and I were playing. There was a moment when I was playing with my human team, and I ran 2 catchers, and I had a catcher just go down the field early in the game. And I was like, I'm gonna keep him down there, like he's gonna, right? Just because if something happens, then he's down there. Well, sure enough, ball comes loose. I get the ball out of Simon on my turn. I dodge out with a catcher, so I got to roll, succeed the roll, and then I pick up the ball. I need to roll, succeed the roll. And I'm like, well, this guy that's now there, all I got to do is walk over and hand him the ball. Walk, hand the ball. I don't have a reroll. Now this catcher, all he's got to do is catch this on a 3+, gets a reroll, fail both of those, fumble, turnover. I mean, that was a sure touchdown. He would have caught that. He was 5 squares away, and he moves 8 into a touchdown. And I'm like, this is all. Yeah,
that's where you messed up, because you said all I have to do is this.
All I got to do is this. It was set up for success. A complete failure.
You also had to I think they were dodges or they were golf, and
Yeah.
he missed both of them. Both times his guy went down, and I think he killed both of his guys.
No, one of them died. One of them
Or
died, and the other
or
one it definitely broke. But yeah.
yeah,
So,
he was out
so
of the
let's
game.
say
Took an next step.
So let's say I want to get into Blood Bowl, Simon. What do I need to do if I want to get rolling dice? Because we could talk about the best times we had and all the cool stuff, but if I don't know where to start, I'm at a loss. So what do I need to do if I want to get in? I want to roll dice. I want to play with you. Where do I start?
Well, that's a weird question because if you want to get a learning game, especially like with me or like Jay or any other guys from Alamo City Blood Bowl, we're down to teach a new guy how to play. So we just gotta go meet up somewhere. We got the books, we got extra teams, and so we can actually lend you those things and the books they can learn, or we can teach you how to play. But to actually get started yourself, I said just getting the starter box, which is a complete rule book and 2 complete teams.
Mm-hmm.
And they have they each have a star player and a big guy. And the orcs have a troll and the humans have an ogre. So I was just starting with that box. It's a little pricey, but you get a lot out of it.
Oh man, that new starter is gold.
Yeah, I think the value is through the roof. It's considering you get big guys and star players and 2 teams and a pitch
Those
and
teams
the rule book.
are what, $40 now?
Teams are about 35 to 40 bucks, with big guys being what 15 to 20.
15, 20.
Yeah, so that's
And the
75.
star players are about 25, 30.
Yeah, and then the rule book 35, and then the pitch another 35.
Yeah.
I think the rulebook's $50 now.
$50 down. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a hardback.
So it's a $140 book. A third of that, box. A third of that is just the book. So the value that you get by the starter is exponential, and they're pretty good teams if you're starting out.
Yeah,
The Human Nobles is a good team to start with.
it's a good average team.
If you want to do a bruising team, the Black Orcs are good to start with.
It's funny is that I don't know. I'm trying to think of Blood Bowl players that only own one team, and I could maybe off the of my hand, because to the credit, they're so expensive. I mean, they're so inexpensive that you can go like, I'm gonna this month, if I have a little bit of cash rolling around, I got $40, I can get it. And most of the teams are good to have everything you need in one box, and then you're golden. Especially if you play sevens, you don't need all the positionals, So, for instance,
Just you want box.
yeah, you just need one box, especially if you play
I
sevens.
got a whole Chaos team the other day for $20 at Barnes and Noble. The whole team, except for the Minotaur, because they had all their Blitz Bowl stuff was on sale for $10. Got the whole thing for $10.
Yeah, so the Blitz Bowl is one sprue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's half the box.
Yeah, it's half the box. Okay.
So the way they were selling it, it was 50% of MSRP for that thing. I was like, man, I can't pass that up. I don't even play Chaos, but now I will.
Yeah, I'm excited to play to run a Chaos team. They don't have a lot of skills, but I got enough skills on the table for them to compensate.
That horns thing
Take
is
a Minotaur with it?
gold.
Or do you want to take with the 4 big guys?
I got an ogre as my big guy because I don't like the Minotaur. I don't like
The
big guys.
Minotaur's a better
I don't like
price.
big guys. Period. let me ask you this, Will and Simon. I don't see the type of enthusiasm or the fanaticism of other games, especially other GW games, that the Blood Bowl players have for Blood Bowl, and this excludes orcs because it's almost like that. Like orc players, are as enthusiastic. Like it's almost that same enthusiasm for like the game of Blood Bowl. Like, why do you think that is? Why is it so endearing?
I'm going to attack. I'm an orc player.
That's not an attack. No, that's my point. Is that their enthusiasm for Warhammer is similar to like the people's Blood Bowl players' enthusiasm for Blood Bowl.
Simon?
I don't know, man. To me, I guess the whole sports part of it, the whole team thing about it. it's everywhere I go, where I go play, because I play different parts of Texas, and it's always the people are always the same way. You know, they're super pumped to play the game, but I couldn't tell you exactly why.
And they're super welcoming too. Like, so 40K
Yeah,
sometimes has a huge barrier. There's a considerable amount of gatekeeping to get into the game. But with with Blood Bowl, you just don't see that. People are like, play my team. I don't care. Borrow my stuff. Play on my pitch.
Yeah.
Here's my team. Here's my guys. Let's play. And you just don't see that in a lot of other games. And I'm not crapping on them by any means, but the Blood Bowl community is way more welcoming and inviting and friendly than many other games. And I'm not talking just Games Workshop. I mean, any game. It's otherworldly. I think, though, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people enjoy this game because there is such a large margin for failure that when you succeed, it's all the better.
Right. That's true.
Because
I mean,
you can
that's
always
true.
fail at anything, and in that moment that everything locks into place, you pick up the ball, pass off to your goblin gets the ball, he doesn't get eaten by the troll throws him across the thing, he lands without killing himself and runs in for a touchdown. There's a lot of points for failure in there. But when it happens,
Yeah.
it's one of the coolest things you've ever done in gaming.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's also like I've played hundreds of games, but most of mine has been on the PC. And then Blood Bowl 2, the game soon to come out, Blood Bowl 3, is a excellent simulator. Like, it's not a video game; it's like a Blood Bowl tabletop simulator. To its credit,
It's a direct port.
yeah, it's direct port. I mean, the rules and everything. For the most part, I mean,
Where all those Blood Bowl trolls live is on that game, on the online version of the game.
so they're well, I'll talk about the video game, but yeah, but they also have online leagues that
Yeah.
have their but well, I forgot what I was going with that, but basically, when you so it's not just like when everything comes together, it's also like there's all these little moments where you're playing against the lizard men, and they have the skinks, and those are the ball carriers, and when you kill one of those little bastards, that's as good as like as scoring a touchdown. I mean, you're like, yeah, you know what I mean? You're pumped up that you killed if you were playing undead and you kill one of their ball carriers. Yeah, what are the ghouls? You know, it's like, yes, if you take somebody out that's been giving you such a hard time, you kill a troll slayer, which my troll slayers yesterday were dying left and right. There was one in the dead box every game.
Satisfaction in
Yeah.
that. And so with Blood Bowl, so if you've never played, it's one of those games where you're allowed to cheat, but you're not allowed to cheat, if that makes sense. And so fouling's a thing.
I was doing
So
it without me thinking about it. I was trying to set up too many players on the 7th pit.
Yeah,
Because I'm so used to playing 11.
yeah, he had 8 guys. I was like, cheat-ass. Oh, dude, I foul all the time.
I did a tutorial game today. So we've done a couple teaching games with this gentleman, and he and I have been friends for a long time. I've been trying to get him to like play this game. You'll friggin' love it. I know you'll love this game. Finally talked him into it. And so today I'm doing we're going to do a live play. So we're going to play through, no skipping things. We're going to do the whole thing. And I was like, today I'm going to teach you about fouling. So I end up fouling this guy and knocking him out of the game. Didn't kill him, but he was out for the push. But the satisfaction as I line 5 guys up around his little skink and go, this is how it works. Get taken out of the game.
One of the first things new players do is play the sidelines, because in American football, you run to the sidelines, right? Because that's where the open field is in front of you. In this game, sidelines are
What did I
your
tell you about
doom.
that, Mike?
Yeah, your sidelines are your doom.
I did that to him today too. I was like, I'm not going to pull punches because you need to learn these things. Because we've done our thing where I'm like, if you do that, I'm going to do this type tutorial game. Now we're doing a live play. So I blocked him on the sideline and knocked him into the crowd. And it's like, this is why I did this, and now I'm just gonna roll on your guy. I don't have to, do anything else. And he was like, what? Like, told you not to park on the sidelines, bud.
I was coaching Mike a little bit yesterday too, so I can position his guys in the right spot, so he can do a 2 dice block on one of my guys instead of the 1 dice block, just by setting his guys in a certain position where they wouldn't be in a tackle zone.
Yeah.
And also I was targeting his trousers because they have frenzy, so that's 2 extra blocks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I always like it because it's like a second chance to get a KO.
Yeah.
But it's also in everything is like a puzzle too. Like, okay, your turn. When it's your turn, and you're like, okay, well, here's what I need to do, and I see the Troll Slayer that I want to blitz, but he's in a tackle zone. I want to get a 2. I want to get an assist so I can get a 2 dice block. How do I go about doing that? Okay, well, step 1, let's get either gonna knock this guy out of his tackle zone or push him out. Right? Either one is a success because we're gonna get him out of the way so that I can move without dodging, so on and so forth. So it's like, okay, step 1, move this guy. Success, succeeded. Step 2, I'm gonna have to dodge out with this guy and then run him around so that I can get him outside of a tackle zone so he can assist, so I can get my 2 dice block. Step 3, okay, so that worked. Got the you know what I mean. Step 3. Now I'm going to do my blitz. Now I have the 2 dice block. So it's like this puzzle that you have to solve at the beginning of the thing. And at any point, there's a failure rate that you do your block and you get the skull. And at least in 7s, there's no rerolls, man. You don't have enough cash to buy them. Yeah. That this is it. You know what I mean? And then it continues. Didn't work out. You can't get mad. And you can't get mad. There's nothing you can. That's not on you.
I think that's one of the great things about Blood Bowl. So when I teach a new player, that's what I tell them. Like, you have to think about what sequence of events needs to happen in order for you to succeed. So You can't just say, well, I'm going to do this one thing and then think of it at this very micro action. You have to say, well, this needs to happen to get the assist off of here so I can get this, to create this space, to block this thing. It's a sequence of things, but then also considering what happens if I fail? What's my opponent going to do on their turn? And trying to, it's very chess-like where, unlike in 40K where if you shoot somebody and you fail, you just fail. That's it. If you go to do melee and you fail, you just fail. There's no consequence for failure. But you have to think about that level of strategy in Blood Bowl that doesn't exist in a lot of other.
And I've always said with 40K, something happened along the way where people were like, I want to do this, and then they try it, and then they fail, and then they get the feel bads for failing, right? And then Games Workshop's like, well, I'm going to make these rules and re-rolls, stratagems, special characters, and stuff like that to mitigate this failure and either make the game more deadly so it's faster or whatever their mentality was. This game doesn't give a crap. It's like failures. Like the Grim Reaper creeps over your shoulder the entire game, and he is literally hovering just because in this game everybody has a movement and you can move. It's called rushing now. It used to be called go for it. But you get to move one extra one, and you have to roll, and you just don't roll a 1. You roll a 1, it's a turnover, your guy falls, and you got to roll an armor. Roll to see if he breaks the armor. If it does break an armor, then you roll injury roll. Sure enough, you're going to go like, okay, how hard is it to just move one more square? Yep, banana peel, armor break, armor succeeds. And the worst part is your opponent rolls it just to throw, humiliation on you. Yeah. And then, yes, he does breaks, and then injury roll, dead. Okay, but the deadly banana peel, all I wanted to do was go one more square. So the Grim Reaper just hovers over this game, and it does not give a crap if you want to mitigate your failure. This game doesn't give a crap about mitigating your failure. It does not care.
And the other thing is that has to be expected because your players can die. So unlike in 40K and some other, there's permanent death. And so say the 3 of us gents are in a league, and Simon kills one of my players, he's dead. Don't pass go, don't collect $200. He's removed from my roster, but we keep playing.
Yeah.
I have had in a league a couple years ago. I was playing my Nurgle team. The very first block of the very first game of the league, somebody killed my most expensive player. And there's no, how do you recover from that? You know, but that's welcome to Blood Bowl.
Yep, I was playing in a league on the PC on Blood Bowl 2, and in my first game as the undead, I had a mummy die, and he's expensive as hell. And I'm like, wow, he's not coming back. I'm not making enough cash in between games to bring that guy back. So I'm down a big guy.
It's about 3 or 4 games that you send me your cash.
Yep, and which means you can't buy anybody else or do anything else with it.
Or you have to start the game with less models, because even, when you draft a team, many times you're going to be lucky to have barely enough people to play, which is 11 players is the starting team.
Right.
And so a lot of people are going to be hard pressed if you lose a guy to be able to field any reserve players from your bench.
Right.
So losing a guy is a thing. And moreover, if you got a player that's doing really good, players are going to go after it.
That's my favorite. I forgot you mentioned that. That's the best part. Your buddy, you're almost remiss to not tell your buddy, like, hey, I rolled doubles and I got this new guy. I can't wait to get him on the field with this new skill. And your buddy's like, right? I'm going to foul this son of a bitch.
He's about to level up for the 3rd time with sprint and go for it. Let me see what I can do about that.
This ghoul that you named Bones
What number
Jackson.
was that guy?
Yeah. It's got like +1 agility. He's got a big old target on his back. So one of the things that is there's multiple ways to play this game. And Sevens has been around forever, unofficially, but now that it's officially adopted, which is freaking super awesome. But you can play this game. See, I'm a pickup guy. I don't play leagues because I don't really have a lot of time to be able to allocate like a game a week. That's just not how like the free time works for me. You have leagues that you can participate in that go on, and these are where your players earn star player points, and they can level up or level up and then get new skills. Some of them become really amazing. They cost more to keep on your roster. You have to manage your team's money. You can buy assistant coaches. So it's a whole kind of like a narrative scenario that everybody's playing through in the league. You can do tournament mode, which is you go for a day, everybody plays tournament, you earn star player points, so on and so forth. Kind of a similar, but it's like a 1 or maybe 2 day event. And then with Sevens, I think being really the ultimate pick up and play version of the game. Every team already has players with skills in them. So you don't have to do your bookkeeping and stuff. It's just you're going to play the rule book guys and just take the field with them. The rule book does allow you though to be able to buy some skills even with Sevens, right? Did you read that part?
Yes. Yes.
Some journey. You could pick up some mercenaries.
You can pick up mercenaries and specific types of mercenaries. They were in the book. Regular linemen, big guys,
right?
Skill players. But yeah, you're able to buy guys, or actually not. It's more like a hire for that one game.
Yeah, fire for the one game. So, when we played, Simon brought his roster, and if he wanted to, his roster could have included. I mean, you very low on funds, but if you played a team where you had some change left over, you might be able to bring one really badass guy. So it's a really great way for, we're going to get 3 or 4 games this morning, and I brought 3 or 4 teams. I'm going to play every single team today. Just pick up games. So the game can be played in multiple ways.
Yeah, Sevens, we played a game in about 40 minutes?
40 minutes, yeah.
45 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, yesterday we ended up playing like 3.5 before I had to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Mike was busy with his daughter with the Pokemon tournament.
Yeah. So yeah, it was able real quick. I mean, I was surprised once we're like, especially, and the thing is it's 6 turns, and then the first 2 turns are moving into position. So you really only got 4 turns of where we're going to be hitting and punching and kicking. You know what I mean? So I definitely suggest. What was that?
To play smart, positioning your guys rather than just getting the crap beat out of you the first turn. Which, I mean, that's part of Blood Bowl, don't get me wrong, but being able to think the long term and set things up in certain formations or plays throughout the game, I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, it was really cool. My human team, I brought a thrower and 2 catchers, and I was able to get the catchers downfield because it's 7-on-7. There's less opportunity to get marked, whereas on 11-on-11, you could really make it to where catchers are going to have to run a gauntlet through you of tackle zones. On this one, I virtually broke away from one guy, and they have dodge, so I get a reroll on the dodge roll, and he's gone. He's in the open, and then I was able to throw a pretty long bomb touchdown. So I'm not saying that the bashing teams don't have it will have it bad. I'm just saying that it's so far in the games that if you can not necessarily sling the ball, but if you can move, then I think you will be at an advantage. But again, Blood Bowl, the teams that can move are also the teams that you can knock out real easy. So, I mean, there's that internal balance.
Yeah, I think that while bashing is great, there has to be some level of actually playing the game too. And so I think the good thing about Blood Bowl is because what are we up to, like 20 teams now?
Oh, I know. There's so many teams.
But the beauty of it is that certain teams play in a particular way, and it forces you to have to rethink strategy. Where if I can flood the table with bodies, there's not a lot you can do. Like my orc team specifically comes to mind. I put all these big uns there, all these blitzers there, trolls there. There's not a lot you can do, but when you have to, and I'm not taking this the wrong way, but use your brain to think up a different strategy to adapt to this new game mode. I really like that. It forces you outside of your complacency of your play style of your particular army or team rather, and forces you to think of what do I need to do because these doggone wood elves are all movement 7 and they're jumping over my dudes and I like that. I really like the thinking strategy aspect of this game.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what it's like playing. Well, I did play a Dark Elves team, and we tied that game. But I would be interested in seeing playing an Elven Union team that really slings the ball because their linemen can run it downfield and catch it. Because catching use your agility stats. So it would be hard to cover everyone if they're just breaking it. And again, it's hard to freaking get the guys too. So if the passer stays back, not only do I gotta cross no man's land, I gotta get to the damn thrower to be able to get to him. All the while, his entire team is eligible for being a receiver.
Wood Elves team. I've always wanted to play a Wood Elves team, and I think Sevens would be a perfect opportunity to learn that team because they are a finesse team.
I think I'm gonna. I think you just convinced me. I think I'm gonna get like the Elven Union or what is it called? The High Elf team.
Yeah. The Elven Union is a good mix. But I just really like the Wood Elves. That's my back in Warhammer Fantasy days. That was my army, and I think it would be a good army to play. But I tend to be the very aggressive basher player when it comes to Blood Bowl, and you obviously cannot play Wood Elves that way. They're finesse, they're dodge, back away, dance around people. And I think that Sevens would be a good opportunity to say, stop playing like an orc and play like an elf.
Right. I always found the regular orc team to be pretty versatile. Because
they have a lot of different positionals where a lot of players don't, but it's more stuff to keep up with. And now that we've went into a new edition, there's so much animosity on the team that they are harder to function together that did not exist in previous editions because they want you to play Black Orcs.
They want you to play the Black Orcs, yeah. But that always going to come up. How often do they really sling it?
The tournament I went to, the guy that won the tournament was an orc player. He dealt with the animosity pretty good, you know.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
1 and 6.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal, and
Yeah.
I think as long as you know what positionals have animosity with others, it shouldn't be a big deal. And to be fair, you know, if you're an orc player and you're throwing to your black orcs or your orc biggins,
Yeah, orc
or
biggins now.
Yeah.
you know, or your lineman, you're not playing orc. You're Hail Marying at that point, trying to pull something
Yeah.
out that should not exist. So animosity should not come up that often, but yeah, they're diverse. The up to 4 blitzers, the 4 biggins, the troll, having
The goblins,
cheap
bro. There's the,
linemen.
the goblins are your little MVPs.
Goblins.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the dirty player goblin.
Yep.
But also the runner goblin is another, you know, I'm a big fan of that one too. And I use goblins in every game. I don't just ever play just orcs. Goblins every game. I would say argue there's an argument for taking goblins early on and not buying the troll. Where everybody
Right.
wants to buy the big one because they're big and they're strong, but
No, I don't like big ones.
when you lose a blitz because the guy's too stupid to run the ball or
Yep,
charge somebody, then it messes you up. So I always buy 2 blitzers, 2 goblins as soon as I buy my team. That's where I start.
Yeah, well, on the full 11s, I take all the black orcs, 2 blitzers, and then goblins and a thrower. But in 7s, I would probably take a thrower to handle the ball.
A goblin.
I would take
If I pick up the ball.
3 goblins and definitely
You'll
at
be stuck
least
with
2
2 goblins.
blitzers. I don't know if I would take a big one.
Blitzers all day. That's
don't-
that's where I'd go. Thrower, goblin, 2 blitzers.
Yeah. Or, yeah, thrower, goblins, and blitzers. I don't know if I would even take a big one and then just rest linemen. You might not even use.
They're too
Just
low
linemen.
in movement. You know, when in a game where you have to, because with the pitch, Biggin couldn't even run across the line of scrimmage on the first turn. So we just
No. Yeah, I'll take up the turn to hit somebody.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that, so I was playing the human team. I took a thrower, 2 catchers, and a blitzer. Normally the blitzers, I mean, you max those out on an 11 on a team. You're taking 4. But the fact that you took 1, it made it feel like this is your team captain, like on defense, right? Like this is Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, I mean,
like this is the
that's the
guy.
guy
that's-
you blitz with, you know?
Yeah, this is the blitzer is going to be doing the blitzing because he's got the the block skill, and he's
Yeah.
just a badass. Absolutely. It makes him
So
feel
there-
like it makes the positionals feel like these are your star players. Really does.
They should be. I like the concept that with sevens is supposed to be the unofficial teams of people trying to get noticed by
Right.
recruiters, and so they play a little bit harder, but they obviously don't have all the guys that are super good at their position. So I kind of like
They're not the best players around.
Yeah. They're
You
trying
know,
to make
but,
the team.
yeah. I like that. I look forward to playing. It'll be interesting to change it up and
I'll tell you, Mike, we need to set up a night during the week where we can go meet up and just play nights of 7. Because we can get like 3 games a night.
Yeah.
Probably 4 games in a night.
So with a traditional game of Blood Bowl, the normal, let's say normal mode, if you will, you're looking at well over an hour for a game, possibly up to 90 minutes for then this is for 2 people that know the game.
Right.
So so Simon and I know the rules we're playing. You're looking at up to 90 minutes for a regular game.
Yeah.
And so with sevens, because of the smaller pitch, the smaller teams, you can do 30-minute games. 20-minute games possibly. So I kind of like the opportunity to get in more games with the sevens mode as opposed to the normal mode.
Yeah, and it is cool because again, there's not Blood Bowl players own 4 or 5 teams. Those teams you never get to play. You're like, all right, you're up. I played 2 with the dwarves and 1 with the humans. I could have easily have done a humans and orcs.
Yeah.
And then a dwarf team. Just bring them
The
all.
case,
Bring all
the
your.
case that I brought had 6 teams in it. you
Yeah.
know?
You're like, which one now?
And I think the good thing about sevens is that you only need so many models. So unlike 40K where you got this massive case that you got to bring
Yeah.
this entire army with you, you're like, here's my little tiny box with my 8 models, and then I have this, folded up paper cardboard pitch, and then you're
Yep.
new dice and you're gaming. So you could literally carry 3 teams for 7s in this little tiny box. And I think, I agree, Mike. I think it would be nice because Skavens is always my number 1 team, and then Orcs. But then I have Humans, several mixed teams, Chaos, Black Orcs, that all just sit in boxes that are just there. And so 7s would give me an opportunity to play some of these teams that I never get to actually put on the table. Because, that's not my main team, if you will.
Yeah, 100%. It's so cool because I was expecting big things from 7s because if you read Reddit, if you read online, 7s was huge in Europe. Non-officially in the NAF, it was huge. They loved 7s. You can get the 7s neoprene pitches. It was an unofficial mode. And just like GWs want to do, they take it unofficial and they publish it in the new Death Zone for the second season Death Zone. And now it's an official game mode. And I'm hoping there's more, pitches and it doesn't need any further support. It's got everything you need in there. A rule book, get the Death Zone and the pitch, and you're good to go. I would, however, recommend you buy the pitch. The pitches go. They always have. They're hard to find. So
Yeah, they're limited print.
yeah,
They're limited print run on pitches and dice when they do the dice for the new teams.
yep,
And sometimes the magazines are also a limited print run
yeah,
for the real Spike magazine. Yeah.
It's funny.
So
So I was telling Mike today before we started that my buddy Al has been wanting to get. I've been trying to get him to play, so we finally played, and he's hooked. Just fucking hooked. Like, dude, this is so much fun. And so he started with Lizardmen, and so today on Warhammer Community, they're like, "Here's all this stuff that's coming."
Oh, for the Lizardman pitch and dice. Yeah,
Plus, we were talking yesterday, and he's like, "Well, what do I need?" I said, "Well, I gave you dice. You bought your team. That's it.
Yeah.
Buy your rule book. You can play." And then today, they're like, "Here's a pitch. Here's cards. Here's new dice. Here's all this other stuff that's specific to his team." And he's like, "Man, I wasn't looking to spend this kind of money, but I'm going to."
yeah. They're good. They have been releasing stuff. I think like at least once a quarter, they're getting new stuff. And when they don't put out a new team or redoing an old team or what have you, they're doing the pitches, the cards, and the supplemental stuff.
The support this game has been receiving has been astronomical compared to the past. I mean, Simon, what was the last 3rd edition box? Like 20 years old until they did the reboot 4 years ago.
Yeah, at least 20. Yeah, at least 20 years.
But
It's 1990 something.
the amount of stuff they've been putting out since then has been huge, and not just like we're rebooting old teams. They've been putting out new teams, star players, different pitches. Like, they try to do pitches that are specific to teams. Like I have a Skaven pitch, and then they're like, "Here's a winter pitch because fuck it.
Yeah.
Here's a winter pitch."
Yeah.
And the Death
rules
book,
for all the
there's
different balls.
rules for the balls. There's rules for the pitches. They have stadium rules to actually buy a stadium.
Here's the
that's
squid
the-
ball.
the-
You have to throw a block on the ball before you can pick it up.
They have also,
Or the dwarf diamond ball that like knocks you out. Dude, it's been gold. The
The one that
stop
blows up.
that's around.
Yeah. The costume.
It's a lot. And so not just they put out the base rules for the game. If you're curious about getting in, they've put out supplements. So they put out a quarterly magazine called Spike, which usually has a new team and rules for that and player characters. But then they put out the Death Zone that have alternate modes of playing, if you will.
yeah, and a couple of extra things like hiring of mercenaries or, just
rogue wizards that
Yeah.
shoot your players from the sidelines, and it's
Different referees.
the new referees, even the new referee models like the dwarf and the high.
Yeah.
I think they did real good at being serious, but also being campy
yeah,
with the game. It's meant to be fun. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's meant to have fun and just play and enjoy the game for what the game is. and that is probably one of the best aspects of the game. And I cannot say enough that it is by far the most fun game I have probably ever played.
Yeah.
And again, not just Games Workshop. It is probably the most fun game. And I don't watch sports. I don't know who the star players are, any of the rules, what football's like or whatever. I'm talking about Blood Bowl. I love this game and how much fun it is. And you do not need to know football to love this game, to play this game. And in fact, if you know football, you're probably at a detriment because you're like, that's not what a blitz is.
Yeah, that's not our turnover. What a turnover is. Yeah. One of the coolest things, and it's so non-GW, is that Blood Bowl has been around for decades, and they've had teams come and go that are no longer supported. And they put out, when the new edition came out, they're calling it the second season 2. They created a free to download PDF that fully supports the old teams of legend that are no longer supported. So it a very un-GW move. All those old teams like the Amazons and the Khmuri Vampires, all of those teams, all of the new pricing statistics, with the passing statistics, those are all available for free so that you can play the teams that you've had for 3 decades if you still have the old pewter.
And some of those teams of legend actually made it to a new printing in 2016.
Like which?
The Chaos Chosen was on that teams of legend when it first came out, and that's a new plastic kit.
Yeah. So they could get called up.
2018, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they are gonna make all those teams. They also did a reprint of the metal teams, like the old Chaos
Dwarves. Yeah.
They did a recast of those. They did I think a recast of the Dark Elves also. I can't remember. They did a few of those teams. They did in the old metal ones.
Yeah. So yeah, they are. This isn't a like some of the games that they've put out. They support for a little bit and then it's over. This has been supported now since the re-release in 2016. We're going on a good 5 years, 5-6 years here of constant releases to get it to the state that it's in now. So I think you're in good hands if you want to jump in.
I think one of the other things that needs to be said here is that it's not Games Workshop itself that kept this game alive. It's the community.
That's right.
When you're talking a 20-year stretch that GW wasn't putting out anything, there were third-party companies out there that were making teams that would blow GW's models off the table. Coxaminicon, Grebo stuff is
stuff is sick.
The best models out there. And the community rally, they're like, we like this game so much, we're going to open up companies and make and produce and sell our own teams.
Yeah, they had the living rulebook too, like a updated rulebook.
The NAF kept the tournament scene alive because they were sponsoring tournaments all over the world. And
so what does NAF stand for, Simon?
What's that?
What does NAF stand for? NAF, NAF. I can't remember what you asked me earlier, and I was like, it's right on the tip of my brain, but I can't produce it. But NAF is not GW. NAF is not Games Workshop. This is the community. So much. They regulate the rules. They started doing like resurrection tournament rules and stuff like that long before, after GW forgot about this game. That's how
they took over basically. They took over the rules of the game. They kept it alive for 20 years.
And they even put out like erratas and rulings and stuff for judges that want to run tournaments so that they can have something concise and universal across tournaments.
Yeah, because their forums is full of all kinds of stuff for tournaments. They have a good team of people answering all those questions that need to be answered for tournament games, rules, stuff like that.
Nuffle Miracle Football, man. So
I never remember that, man.
So Old Fluff is with Blood Bowl. If you're not aware, Old Fluff was the fantasy races, elves, dwarves, orcs, all that stuff. Found an orc playbook, and it said NFL on it, and they thought it spelled Nuffle, and so that's where Nuffle came from, and so that's been a big reoccurring thing. Now they've retconned all that stuff because of copyright and trademark. I'm sure that's where that came from. And so the old races were at war with everybody. They found this rule book, and they're like, why don't we play these games instead of fighting each other? And that's how they started settling their disputes, was by playing Blood Bowl. But it's very like Roman Gladiator-esque. It's called Blood Bowl because the fans just want to see blood.
Yeah,
they don't care to include their team. So one of the things we talked about was about parking your guys on the side of the pitch, because if you knock them off the field, the fans attack the players. That's why you don't roll. The fans beat the crap out of your players because they don't care where the blood comes from.
You go for an injury roll, not an armor roll.
Yeah,
Right,
just straight armor.
And so that's why knocking guys off the pitch is so great. But I always thought that was a cool bit of fluff for the game that made it into the rules. It wasn't just like, this is the rule and why we do it. And if you ever play the game, Bob and the commentator,
Yeah.
Jim.
oh, that is comedy gold.
Mike, so you ever played the game online and you get pissed off, thrown off the pitch? You'll see the fans just stomping on you.
Yeah.
Are you see his leg just stomping on you?
Little cutscene.
We're at 1 hour, and Simon, I know that you wanted to take some time to talk about Battle for the Alamo Bowl, so the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah. I'm hosting the tournament this year. We missed last year because of COVID, so we have the third annual Battle for the Alamo Bowl coming up in July the 31st at the Dragon's Lair Medical Center. It's $1.2 million to build your team, and then you get $200,000 to add skills to your teams. $20K per normal skill and $30K for double skills. It is $30 to play, but you get 4 rounds of games. It's a whole day. We're gonna be finishing about 8 o'clock, probably 9 o'clock. We're expecting people, as always, from Austin, Houston, North Texas. I just got a guy that sent me PayPal. I believe he's in Chicago.
Jeez.
So he just sent me PayPal earlier today. I got a notification. I got to go and verify everything. But yeah, I was talking to him earlier. I believe he's from Chicago. Him and his dad. So yeah, I'm expecting to have a pretty good crowd. And Jay came up with the idea of giving away Bowie knives as prizes for the winners.
That's actually where that started. So all those knives that we give away at Alamo was because Jay started doing it at the Blood Bowl tournaments before we started doing it at Alamo GT.
Yeah, so we'll have a couple. I think we have 3 this year. I'm not 100%. I need to get back to Jay, but yeah, well, the overall winner's gonna have one. I think second place, and then I think the stunty winner is gonna also get one.
What's a stunty player?
Yeah, stunty are ogres, snotlings, goblins, and
Halflings.
halflings. Yeah.
So stunties are the smaller players that are much harder to play. So you're playing Blood Bowl, but on hard mode.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
You're purposely handicapping yourself to play these.
And the only reason the ogres count is because they're stupid. They're bonehead. They're hard to get them to move around to do anything.
Well,
You're depending on your little.
And it's all snotlings.
You're depending on their little guys to do everything else.
All
But
right.
yeah, that's coming up on the 31st.
That's awesome, man. It's so great to see people out and doing stuff again. So,
More information can be you can get the information on the Facebook page for Alamo City Rebel League. I think there's a link on the cast tonight. I'm not sure, but it's on Facebook.
I'll put a link in there.
Yeah, so
Alamo
if
City
you're
Rebel League.
So if you're in Red Star and you want to learn more about about Blood Bowl, you want to talk to Simon or Jay or some of these guys, it's Alamo City Blood Bowl League. You can find it on Facebook or ask us in the Red Star page and somebody will link it to you. They're very active, they're very responsive, and they're very courteous and outgoing to help get you into the game and answer any questions you might want. So go to that Facebook page, ask, you can tag Simon or me or anybody else, and we're all more than happy to answer any questions you might have about Blood Bowl.
Yes, sir.
Also, we're getting ready to start another league coming up. We just gotta get together and get the rules out and everything, and we'll get more information out for anybody that wants to join the league.
And leagues are, you know me, I've talked about this time and time again with every episode we do. Leagues and campaigns are where you have fun. I get it. We have families, we have jobs, we have responsibilities, but these ongoing connected games are where this game shines. Playing one-offs is great. It's a lot of fun, but you really want to shine, play in a league, get with Simon, and go through a 6-8 week league, leveling up your guys, having Simon kill your guys, stuff like that. That's where this game shines.
Yeah, our leagues are usually one game or 2 games a week. And so it's not a whole lot of pressure to keep playing all these games. So it's very, very laid back.
Awesome, gentlemen. Well, that's another episode in the bag of probably the greatest game GW's ever made. I want to thank, of course, Simon for taking the time to be our special guest today. I know Josh sends his apologies. He had some technical difficulty and wasn't able to hop back in, man. But Josh is he loves Blood Bowl. He's got a great Lizardmen team and plays them really well. And me and him play a lot online. We've gotten, I don't know if he's even played the tabletop version, but he's got to cut his teeth on the physical one there because it's just so awesome to play just amongst friends. And
well, there's games where if you don't know how to play, there's so many of us that have extra teams. Comment on the Facebook page, hit us up on YouTube, whatever, and say, hey, I want to play, I want to learn the game. One of us will say, meet me at this store at this time. I got a team. Show up with yourself. I got everything else. Let's play this game.
Right. All right, everybody. Okay. Well, thanks again for everybody, Will and Simon and Josh and everything. And that was another great episode. And from the Red Star Roundtable crew, we want to say thanks for watching and good night.
Happy gaming, folks.